What could they possibly be building there? Jesus. That's a big old open area that they have fucking leveled right across from another place here. Look at all those goddamn palm trees. You know, palm trees weren't even native to Southern California. They were introduced by the Spanish, like in the 1700s. They introduced them a long ass time ago. Now they are everywhere. People are like, oh, palm trees, a staple of Southern California. No, there were no palm trees in Southern California until the Spanish brought them here. They are not native. Like a fucking virus. Although they're pretty. I'm not going to disagree with that. Damn, that's a high-ass bridge. I wonder what that's like in an earthquake. Alright, so now that we're going to get on the highway and it's going to be nice and loud, let's do a quick review of this here R6. Because this is my first time riding an R6. I'm borrowing this from a friend of mine. And I don't know, I've never ridden an R6 before. So, this is it's been a little bit of an experience, and I'm wondering, you know, some of the things are real good, and some things are a little quirky, and I think they're not bad, they're just different from what I'm used to. But so far I like it. It's light. Oh, this is an accident waiting to happen. Alright, let's see if I can't get on the highway here and not kill myself. So I've never hit these little bumpy things before. Little lane dividers. I've never driven on those before because I'm from a place that doesn't have them. And I'm kind of afraid to hit them. Alright, so let's talk about this R6 now that we're at cruising freeway speed. And I'm drifting all over because of these fucking lines. That's a little better. So when I first started riding this thing, it felt like the front wheel was flat, or it felt something weird. And that was the first thing I noticed. Oh god, those are scary. So it felt like the front wheel was flat. And the reason I think is this thing that I'm not used to. My bike doesn't have one, and I forget what it's called, a damper or something. It dampens the steering so you don't get a speed wobble. So when I turn the wheel on my bike, you know, if I'm turning left, I push with the left hand, and if I'm turning right, I push with my right hand. But when I do that on this bike, it like fights me. It feels much different than my Ninja. So when I push on either hand, it fights back. Like, it actively feels like it's pushing back against my hand. But mine does too, my Ninja, but not as much as this Yamaha. So that's a little different, and it took me a while to get used to, but I like it. The other thing is, this is not my bike, obviously, so it's not set up for me. The levers are in weird spots. I actually had to adjust the clutch because I couldn't use it. The guy whose bike this is probably does a 4-finger pull, whereas I do a 2-finger pull on the clutch, which I recommend for anyone. Fuck, this road is bumpy. Well, a little bit. So anyway, yeah, so I had to adjust a few of the levers, and like the shift lever, for example, is in a weird fucking spot. I can't get this thing into neutral. I sit there at lights and just push it first, second, first neutral, second. And like, it just, I can't get it to stay in. This takes some getting used to. I'm definitely not used to it. The brakes feel a lot different. The back brake works really well, but the lever's too high, so I think it's more like where I rest my foot is partially engaging the brake, not now. But where I rest my foot is partially engaging the brake, and where I brake, or actually push on the brake, it's like fully engaging, more so than on my bike, so it just feels like the back brake works a lot better. And the front brake doesn't feel like it works as well. I have to pull it what feels like really hard to get the bike to slow down. So I'm still getting used to it. One thing to note, this thing does not feel as aggressive in terms of the riding position, the seating position. It just doesn't, like my bike, I've bitched about it pretty often, that I think it's, the reason is it's the ZXRR, it's the track bike. It crushes my nuts, and the seat tilts forward just a little bit. Whereas this thing feels flat and comfortable. I could ride this thing all day. I'm a little bit, I mean, it's still a sport bike, I'm still hunched, but it doesn't feel the same at all. This is a lot more comfortable, now that I've been riding it for a while. Oh, hey, that guy's coming in for a landing. So it's definitely a lot more comfortable. And the other thing is the suspension is not as stiff. This thing kind of floats. I don't know what year this is. It's got, I don't even know how many miles. It doesn't say. I'd have to, no, but I can select it. Let's find out. Oh, there you go, 24,000. Damn. maybe that's part of it. The suspension's a lot more broken in. But this thing just feels like it floats over the bumps rather than mine feels like it kicks me in the ass like it has no suspension. But this thing does. I can definitely feel it. I get a little bit, you know, in a car when you kind of get a loft and it kind of like settles. This thing doesn't feel like that. This thing, I guess it just feels like a newer, nicer suspension than mine. Mine just is stiff as shit. And when I hit a bump, like the back wheel lifts every time. When I'm on the highway and I hit a bump, especially if I am accelerating, the back wheel lifts and I get a rev and the wheel spins. But this thing feels like the suspension has more play, more give. And it... Jesus, titty fucking Christ, that was loud. Alright, what road am I looking for? I don't know which one of those roads it is. I don't know where I'm going. Alright, let's get up there. So this thing feels good on the highway. This is the first I've had it around 75. Ooh, 80 for a second there. This is the first time I've had it up on the highway, and this thing feels damn good on the highway. Mine feels the same on city streets as it does on the highway. It's consistent. My Kawasaki. This one feels like a little more like I don't like it so much at lower speeds because I said about the steering and the throttle is very. How do I describe this? With my bike, this one, if I just barely twist the throttle, it gets a good rev out of it. Let's say the RPMs rack up a lot faster, but I haven't accelerated quickly, but it doesn't feel any faster than my bike. They're both 600s and they're both older and they both got quite a few miles, so they're probably similar in terms of speed. Alright, sorry about that. Got lost for a second there, but now I'm right. I'm on the right track. So, this thing, it feels like less consistent. At lower speeds, the steering feels a lot different, and I don't really like it. It fights me. But at high speeds here, it doesn't fight me at all. It feels great. It feels just like mine. Whereas mine feels the same at low speed and at high speed. So I just feel like this one is a little less consistent. But I'm also just not used to it. I can't knock it. It doesn't feel bad. It's just different. And I haven't spent a whole lot of time on other sport bikes other than my own. Just a couple. And it's been a little while since I've ridden someone else's, actually. So anyway, yeah, that's a real quick review. The acceleration feels good. The throttle feels smooth. It's really peppy. When I twist the throttle, the revs jump right up. It definitely racks up faster. Or maybe I'm just not used to it, but it definitely feels like it racks up a little faster than mine. And I think I definitely like the seating position on this thing. It is far more comfortable. Mine is not comfortable at all. This, like, bumps, no problem. They're all going into my, on mine I feel it a lot in my nuts because I'm right up against the tank, but in this I'm not. I mean, I am right up against the tank, but that's by choice, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. I feel like correct. So I think when I get my seat reupholstered, I'm going to work on getting them to flatten it out a little bit so it's not so tilted, because this thing feels good, like downright good. Now let's get used to it again. Damn, it leans over nicely. Nice and smooth. Actually, now that I've had it on the highway, now it feels better at low speed. I think I'm just getting used to it. I don't know. I really like this, and the seating position is a lot more comfortable. So, I don't know if that's going to have an effect on my next vehicle. I'm joking. I'm not thinking about selling the Ninja just yet. So I think that's pretty much my review. It's different. It's taken some adjusting. You can hear the brakes squeaking. I don't know when the last time they were looked at, but everything feels good. It just would require some adjusting, and this would feel like a great bike. So that's my quick review. Now let's find where I'm going. Alright, I'll catch you later.